Stockpile Hobbies.
Welcome back to Stockpile Hobbies. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be adding some LED lights to these amazing AFX Collector Series cars here. And of course, these are the Mega G Plus chassis. I haven't had one of these in a while. I never added lights to them, so we're going to be a first time for me. I'm going to show you how to get it done and make it look cool. Alright, so we got to get these cars out here, and I don't think I can use scissors to open it though. I have to go get a razor blade because we want to preserve the packaging, so we want to cut the car out so Dan can keep the card intact. I'm going to go grab a razor blade.
Ooh, some scissors. Oh, this would be cool.
Oh! Did we scare you, Dan? Did Enzo get you? No, Dan wants to keep the packaging here, so we're going to use a razor blade to get these out. Yeah. We're going to get these out gently, or as gentle as possible, without ruining the packaging for Dan. So I'm going to take the blade here and just slice out the car.
Be careful not to cut yourself.
Alright, Enzo, can you gently remove the car?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. You know what kind of car this is?
It's like a Lamborghini.
A little bit. It's a Ford GT40. It was a very fast car back in the 60s. It beat Ferrari. That's what made it really important. Pretty cool. So, these are the Mega G cars. Enzo, have you ever seen these? These have a can motor. They don't have the normal wound motor you are used to seeing. Like this. See? It's just a motor in a can.
Oh, yeah.
But it has all the performance it's going to need. It's really fast.
It looks like a battery.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? So, let's just pop this off here. And so there's a circuit board on it too. So I'm not sure what the electronics are for. I think it's for braking. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. I'm not really familiar with these cars. I didn't get into I never got into these chassis. I had too many to maintain as it was. I did have it at one time, but we would have had to have upgraded the controllers.
Yeah. Controller.
Yep. So we're going to take it over now to the work area, and we are going to solder on some LEDs. We got to pick out some colors too, Enzo.
Yes.
Dan said he wanted, I think, on the white cars, he wanted white and red for the two white cars.
Yeah. He
wanted red for the red car, and we got the pick for the black car. And we have a chassis too with no body that I'm going to put a color on as well. So for our soldering, we're going to come off the two solder points on the motor here, on the left side and the right side, right there. And to do that, I'm going to take one of my LED leads, and you can find links in the description to the LEDs that I use here that I bought. It comes in all these different colors that we have here: red, blue, orange, yellow, white, green. And I have a white one here. This is bright white. And what we're going to do is, looking at the body, it would be out of the way if it's right here, but I also kind of want to tuck the way. I'm not sure which way would be best. I have clearance to leave it right here on the body, but I almost kind of want it up further, but it's going to be too hard to do that. So I think it will just hang over the lip of the car like this. I think would be good. So that should put it somewhere up there. Now, if it bends down too far and it's showing for some reason, I could probably add a little piece of packaging tape that can just be put there so it sticks there while the car's racing. And this way, if he takes the body off, all you got to do is a piece of Scotch tape or whatever and just free the LED from the body. But that would just keep it up and out of the way. But these wires are pretty stiff, so I don't think that it will really drag down. They kind of bend where you put them. So, you know, it retains some of its shape once it reforms a little bit, but you can get them to stay pretty much where you want them. So I think we'll be all right. And when I had this on the car here for a lead, there's the motor. So I think right about here is where the length we want. Alrighty, so I got my wire cutters here and strippers. There we go. And now we just strip these two little wires. They're very small. They're like 24, 26 gauge. There we go. So before we solder these to the motor, we want to tin the wire. And all that means is to add a little bit of solder to the wire already. So I'm going to add a little flux here. And all the flux does is help the solder flow across the wire. And you'll see when I do this, you just got to touch the wire and the solder will transfer to it. Now I have a really fine tip on the soldering iron here to get into the area we have to get into. Normally when I tin this wire I'd have a fatter blade on it, but I'm not going to switch the soldering iron back and forth. So I have the soldering iron up to temperature now, and we're going to add a little solder to the tip. And I'll transfer it to the wires, and you'll see I just touch it. There we go. These are all set now. So now all we have to do is we're going to run the red lead to the left side or the driver's side of the car, and the black lead to the right side or the passenger side of the car, or the motor I should say, on here. And we're just going to put the wire down on top of the lead and sandwich it with the iron, and it should solder to the motor. So I'm going to try to get this on camera now as I do this, and we're going to start with the red lead on the driver's side of the car. And you see down there, there's already a soldering point down in there. And you just want to hit this onto it. There's one. Now let's get the other one. So there we go, we got it soldered on. Working really good. So this motor was a little bit harder to get to that soldering joint. I had a hell of a time getting it to get on that lead there. When I did this, the test chassis first, it took like 2 seconds. One thing I probably forgot to mention there was to add some flux to the tip of each of the motor pickups here on the side of the tabs here. So add a little dot of flux there too, and a little dot of flux on the wire when you sandwich that to help it stick. But looking really good. And with it like that now, we want to get the bulb oriented in a good spot under the chassis here. So I was able to get the body mounted, and use a pair of tweezers here to center the bulb. And you see it's free, it moves freely, it's not being bound, and looks good. So I wanted to make sure that the LED wire wasn't interfering with the body mount, because it looks like it has really close tolerances here on the back of the wheel well, and on this side over here too, it's way up high. I can fit the whole tweezers in there, how high that is up in there. So I grabbed the other car out of the packaging, and it looks the same without the LED wire on it. It also has the tight tolerance here, and it has the one side way up in the air. Actually, I think it's the opposite side that's up in the air on this one. Yeah, kind of interesting. If I was actually going to race these, I would actually take a fine piece of sandpaper and just get a little bit more clearance here. Because as you're going around the racetrack and this thing's shifting and moving and waddling, you want to make sure you're getting no tire rub there. Because, you know, 1/10 of a second, 1/8 of a second costs you a race, you know, if you're drag racing or even on the road course going around laps, you know. So you want to make sure that you have good clearance everywhere on the body as well. But on the one with the bulb, it looks great. We have our white light. So I'm going to go ahead now and add the red light to this car. So I'm filming this for the second time here because the previous car didn't have a lot of solder down on the motor tabs. It was really hard to get the solder on the other one. But this one should be easier. So as you saw, we just tinned the wires here. And now I'm taking a little flux here as well. And I'm just going to put a dab of it on the motor, the solder on the motor here where we're going to be soldering to. Just to help everything connect and solder together. So I have my soldering iron up to 425 degrees, and we're going to solder the red wire to the driver's side of the car, or of the motor. So just touch the iron to it, blow on it, and it connects. And do the same for the other side. What I'm doing right now took me about 20 minutes on the other car because there was hardly any solder on the motor on the other car. There we go. I think we got a good connection. So let's test it now. Oh, looks good. All right, let's get this one all together. So these cars are really nice. I didn't talk about it before, but they have this piece of paper on the inside of the body to give the interior a look instead of seeing the car through the windows. And let's see now if our red bulb worked on the car. Oh, looking really cool. So we have red and white now. Oh, white, red, looking good. Pretty cool. So this was interesting. On the red body here, the mount is different to the chassis. The other cars had a clip on them that go into the body like the old style mounts. And these have like the narrow chassis mounts on them. Interesting that they're all the same series, but these are a different molding of the body here. And on this one, Dan, there's headlights in here. There's actual paper here on the backside, or if it's painted. But I don't know if you'll see the light through on this body, but you'll definitely see the underglow of it. So we're going to proceed and add the red LED to this one as well. So what's cool on this red one though, it has an open mouth here, right where the bulb is, and it puts a nice light right in front of it. That one came out really nice. I got the better length on the wires too. I made the wire a little bit shorter, so less of it is bunched up on top of the motor, and it's up in the body fit a lot more snug too. But again, this has better mounts. These really hold the body securely to the chassis on this other style mount here. As you can see here by the last car, I really got the technique down. You want about, I don't know, an inch of wire, and then you just bring it down. It straddles the wire in the middle there that they had from the factory, and it just hangs right over the front axle. There's no binding then on top of the motor with the body pieces. Yeah, I like that so much, I actually went back and redid the first car again. That's about how much width you want on that. That's how long of a whip you want on that right there. That is perfect. So there's the cars all done. You'll have to check them out on Dan's channel over on Slot Valley Racing to see what colors I actually picked for the black car and for the chassis, roller chassis he sent me as well. This was awesome. I had a nice learning experience here working on the Mega G Plus cars. They all went very smooth except for the first one I did that I actually filmed. There was only a little piece of solder there exposed on the motor to get down into it. It took quite a while to do that one car, where the other cars probably took about 3 to 5 minutes each. That first one took about 20 minutes or so. But I went back and redid it, and it looks even better now as I had shown. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you check this out on our live stream on the previous night over there on Dan's channel at Slot Valley Racing. And be sure to check out an upcoming video by him where he's going to show off these cars on his track. Hopefully he turns the lights off, lets his track lighting illuminate the track, and have these cars zip around in different colors. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Keep having fun, everyone.